Black with no chaser.
One time for everybody checking in. It's Tuesday night. It's time to put the kids to bed and get your nightcap. We've got a great show lined up for you this evening. But there's one important announcement that we need to make right now. There seems to be some sort of outage between our broadcast platform and Facebook. So if you're watching via YouTube right now, I need you to tell all of our nightcappers that are on Facebook, get on over here to YouTube, engage there. YouTube, all you got to do is search Nightcap Knowledge, or the link is being shared by Mr. Mac on Facebook right now. So get everybody from your Facebook chat message, messenger, the comments, the posts, and everything. Get them on over there to YouTube, and we will get the Nightcap Knowledge session started. Putting something on your head before you go to bed, baby. Nightcap Knowledge. Now let's give a shout out to all of our sponsors. One time for B1 Mississippi School of Health Services and Careers. You can begin your career in healthcare today. You can hit them up at mshscschool.com. That's 769-572-7490. And you know we got to give a shout out to the official water of Nightcap Knowledge. It's the refreshing taste, and we keeping it all the way simple. It's Aspire Pure. You can get it at Amazon.com. All you got to do is just search it. It's black on water. It's the official water of Nightcap Knowledge, and it's got no aftertaste. It's absolutely outstanding. It's Aspire Pure. One more time for the Jackson Rage Room, Central Mississippi's original rage and relaxation room, right there on Terry Road in Jacktown. You can reserve your moment to rage, release the rage, RageRoomJacksonMississippi.com. Let's get ready. We are talking about Feeding Mississippi, the only Black Indigenous people of color urban food equity collective in Mississippi. It's the Tougaloo Agri-Growth Initiative, and we've got the brains and the minds behind all of what is happening right there at 500 West County Line Road, and how we're going to take over the state of Mississippi and the world. Maybe it's Nightcap Knowledge every Tuesday at 9 p.m. Tell somebody, get something on your head before you go to bed. Hey, how you doing over there, Mr. Mac?
Yo, what's going on, man?
Hey, man. Hey, I'm over here looking, man.
You looking just like yourself there, fella.
Looking just like yourself. Hey, man, that's a nice shirt you have on there, sir. It
Yes,
matches
sir.
what's
This
up.
shirt right here is the new Mississippi Move logo and motto, moving Mississippi forward. All gas, no brakes. It's in a nice green hue. Is what we talking about, green power, the plant power. We're going to
Come
talk a
on.
little bit about that tonight. As you can
Come
see, I'm
on.
rocking my Apple hat on my little
Yeah.
green shirt. And
Yeah,
this
man.
shirt was made by none other than I Got It Made.
I got it made. I got
I
it
got
made.
it made.
There
Yes.
you go,
You
baby.
didn't go get it.
Yeah,
If
go
you
get it. I
hadn't
keep
got
made
it
in the
made
US.
yet, you need to go get it.
Well, look, brother. What you got going on over there? I see. Is there a new bottle in your?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And a big shout out to Larry Lincoln Leggett Obama. The man got his own money. And when I say he got his own money,
He got
he
his
got
own
his
money.
own money. You know, this bottle right here is a nice new cognac that I'm just trying out, right? So it's a special V. It kind of gives you a Martell, little lighter, better taste. You know what I'm saying? So I've been trying this out, but it's really nice.
Rewind that.
It
Say
kind of
that again.
it's like a better Martell type.
Yeah.
Martell used to be the cognac back in the day
Yeah,
before
man.
Hennessy took over. Martell was the black folks drink.
Hey, that's what Outkast said, buddy. I don't know what you're talking about. Outkast said that.
And I still, and my guy Jadenham still drinks the blue
Yeah,
label Martell. So, but
that's
this,
Swift.
yeah, that's it.
Yeah,
So this is
yeah.
like a nice, smooth cognac, probably pair well with a good hand wrapped cigar. So,
Yes, sir.
um,
Yes, sir.
no, my mental health minute, and we
Come on.
excuse me, everybody. Remind you that this is Nightcap Now. This show is rated black and uncensored, real talk, real issues, real solutions. Some of the stuff we might say might not be politically correct, but it damn sure will be right on time. So this what we have here. We talk about nightcap knowledge, and our mental health minute was something about transferring a negative energy. Right, we keep talking about that because people are dealing with a lot of stress. We don't
Right.
know it's food, environment, what's happening right now, but people are handling stress differently. And as we see the rise not only in violence and crimes,
People are.
just where we are, but
Yeah.
just overall across the country. A lot of these incidents are domestic, right? So it's some, not just like relationships, but friends and folks get into it over simple stuff. Um, so transferring of negative energy is a real thing. So finding outlets to therapeutically be able to release the stress, whether in things you can do. But first, you got to recognize it. You got to recognize it in yourself. You got to recognize that something is not right. That is you. Things can get physical, like to the point where your body feels heavy and in pain. And stress is a real thing. But transferring that negative energy and understanding how energy flows in the world is not captured. It rests in different beings from time to time, but energy is all around us. So you definitely got to know how to carry yourself and how to recognize when your energy is off.
Yeah.
So if you need to do a massage, if you need to do meditation, need to do yoga, if the things that you need to do to help yourself be better, but definitely remember that person that you talk to a lot of times is not that person's fault. When we talk about transferring negative energy, you're mad at one thing, mad at one person, and you take it out on other folks. Because your day is bad, you want to make sure everybody else's day is bad. Don't do that.
Yeah.
Because again, you don't know what can happen when you pass that energy on to someone else. So do everyone a favor, understand the importance of not transferring negative energy, right? You want positive vibes only. That's what we're going
Yeah.
for. Learn what we need to do,
There she
and we're gonna
go.
keep it going. Is that TBC?
There she is.
What's up,
It's
man?
She gotta do her
TBC.
wave.
Yeah.
TBC wave. The TBC wave.
Meow,
All
meow,
hangs up.
Can I get a
meow,
ew?
meow.
Ew. Get your. My mic sounds nice. Get your mic right. Get your mic right.
Y'all can't hear me?
There you go. Yeah.
There
Yeah.
you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
I was about
There
to
you go.
say, my mic, everything started to say,
Oh, you ain't say it loud enough. You ain't say it loud enough.
I think your mic is
Oh,
low, or either you low or the mic low. Which one is it?
You little
I'm
taxed.
low. No, I had like an allergic reaction to some dust,
Mm.
and so it's like flaring me up. Like my sinus cavity is like,
Oh
ugh.
yeah,
So yeah.
yeah. I
So now,
understand how that.
yeah. Other than that, I'm drinking some low carb syrup And yeah, had a nice steam shower and just getting myself together.
Trying to open it all
Look
up.
at you. Look at you. All right.
Yeah.
Get you some of that
Look,
eucalyptus and stuff like that, and just
And what's crazy is I can't do eucalyptus like that. I wish I could. That and
what about
echinacea.
peppermint?
Yeah, but you got to be
yeah,
careful
she
with
like
peppermint because
peppermint.
peppermint open your pores up too much, you get sick.
Damn, Tanya, you
You
want to
drink,
wake you
you,
up,
you
bubba.
drink peppermint in your coffee though. I remember that.
Absolutely. Ha
Uh-huh.
ha. But you got to remember peppermint syrup and peppermint oils, one, for the body, one for the actual ingestion, the other one's,
Hmm.
external.
Yeah,
They're two different properties. So once those
yeah,
pores are open, like I used to get when I had my locks, this girl would shampoo with the drops of peppermint oil, I would start sneezing immediately. Because the
Really?
pores are open. Yeah, your pores are open. Peppermint syrup
yeah,
is I mean, peppermint oil is strong. It'll
Yeah,
get
Shallow
you
usually put it
sick.
in the what's the thing? The diffuser?
yeah,
And
yeah,
diffuser, yeah,
yeah,
but that's you gotta remember that it's synthetic. So it's
Yeah.
already diluted. It's not as strong.
Okay. Okay.
So, but you just gotta be
yeah,
careful. Peppermint oil, but it's good to do a drop during the fall, the winter, just to kind of cleanse the house. Just like boil some water and do one
yeah.
drop. It
Uh-huh.
will literally have the whole house smelling fresh and open.
Oh yeah.
You know what?
I'm
You know,
gonna do that.
what you talk about peppermint. I think about us as children. Maybe this not, y'all didn't do this, but when Halloween, not Halloween, but Thanksgiving and Christmas, you get those oranges, walnuts, and that
Yeah.
huge
What?
peppermint stick.
Hold up, man. Hold up. You just disrespected my whole Baptist church experience.
Well,
What?
I don't assume that
Wait, hold up.
that y'all did this.
Nah, we done had all kind of sessions. You ain't finna disrespect my Baptist church experience.
My bad,
I-
brother.
Walnuts,
Hold up, it was all churches because we got them in the clear bag. Don't talk
Brazil
about.
Oh
nut,
no, we ain't had no clear bag. We were paper bag like a mug, boy.
right?
We was
Paper bag,
straight
Brazil nut.
country with us. Hood and country. We was straight country.
Did y'all get the Brazil nuts in y'all with the
We got
walnuts?
the one you
Yeah,
couldn't crack
Oh,
in your teeth. Yeah,
exactly.
yeah,
I
yeah,
know.
yeah. It
Look,
was a
I
lot of
spent some
snagging two
time in
children running
Mississippi as a
around.
kid. In
Yeah.
Mississippi as a kid, I remember that. Don't talk about the candy
But I'm
cane,
just thinking about like you talking about
the
peppermint, man. We
broken
ate so
one.
much peppermint back in the day. Like that's all you could get. Getting other candy was a real treat.
Oh
I
yeah.
want some
Man,
candy.
don't
Here you
talk about
go.
that stropberry candy that grandma used to have in her purse.
Ooh, the
That
Uh-uh.
and
cream top.
butterscotch.
Yeah.
Butterscotch and
Butterscotch.
strawberry.
You go sit beside grandma in church and she slide you with the butterscotch. You sit there like this.
Look,
Oh,
let one of them babies start crying in church. All you heard was shh, baby. Ah! That
All
baby
of them
ain't
have it.
said nothing.
All of them have it. Here you go, baby.
That
You
baby
know what?
knew he was about to eat something.
Nobody's sugar ever dropped back then. You be in
Oh
church forever in
no.
3 days.
Oh no.
I'm talking
Don't
about it.
look.
Everybody had candy. It was just here you go, baby.
Everybody. And then we moved over to the pillow peppermint and then the
yep.
melting peppermint.
Yep.
Like,
But don't get caught
Man,
chewing
man,
no gum in church though.
nope. You could eat peppermint, but you couldn't chew gum. You
right.
could eat peppermint, but you couldn't chew gum.
And you better not put the wrapper in the back of where the hymn books go on the pews.
Ooh.
This is Sister Mary Shaw right here.
You would get in trouble. Trouble.
Oh,
Yeah,
look at
boy.
Tanya. We done got you distracted. I bet. Give us our music check in. We done had a whole
Yeah.
moment
Oh
back when we
man.
was a
Man, look,
child
so
with peppermint.
music check-in today. Music check-in this week is I'm working. I've been deeply investing in soul music and what soul music is and why soul music doesn't have the platform as other genres of music that stand on its own. So I had a chance to holler at my boy Lo. We were talking earlier this week, and I was in my office, and he heard like, "Why you ain't share the playlist? Why you ain't share the playlist?" And I was like, man, look, I'm not ready to share it right now because I'm writing on the plate, like literally writing my paper and possibly my thesis dissertation to this playlist that I titled Mind of a Soul and the
Mm-hmm.
Soul of a Mind. And in the playlist, we talked last week about Nina Simone. I
Right.
have Johnny Hathaway. I have Sam Cooke, Otis Redding, Paul, y'all know him.
Robeson?
Williams.
I can't think
It's called.
his Paul, his first name. But I have Phil Johnson, which was a powerful brother that talked about walk a mile in my shoes. And
Mm.
all of these songs resonated with me from Aretha Franklin to Mahalia Jackson is in this playlist. Myself, my music is in this playlist,
Mhm.
and it's an evolution of sound through different eras. However, it's also an evolution of emotions and mental health disparities within this set list playlist. And so I began to write, and my professor wanted me to write this liner notes. Long story short, the playlist really speaks to the heart and minds of and souls of soul artists who have come and became legends before their time and have transitioned, and we're still trying to figure out what happened. And
Mm.
so it's about the healing, and I try not to get emotional behind it, but it's the healing of the mind through the lyrics, because only they could tell their story
Mhm.
and only people could hear them through the lyrics and the melodies. What if they were just to sit still and talk? Nobody could hear them, right?
Yeah.
So all of these greats who lost their childhood due to sexual molestation, or who couldn't really figure out how to tell you what they were feeling, right?
Mhm.
All these mental health disparities that were that were presented or birthed through racism, through um, all of the social economic statuses between 1940s and where we are still today in time, right? We haven't even talked about the chitlin circuit and the neckbone circuit of music and what these artists went through, Ray Charles and so forth. But if only their minds could tell us how they really were feeling,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
right? And so I said all that to say, as an artist, as a touring artist, it gets hard out here, man.
Yeah.
It gets super hard. And I heard you, Max, saying don't deflect and project your energy onto somebody else when you're going through. I feel that when it comes to us as Black people, we need to really be true to how we feel and be okay to say how we feel. Excuse me for those who are on, but fuck how motherfucker feel when you say it. You got to get it out.
Yeah.
Donny Hathaway was 33 when they found him on the bottom of a 15-story room. Nobody can tell us what happened, but we'll sing his songs all day.
Yeah.
So it's time for us to really start looking and diving into how we are really feeling. It's okay to not be okay. It's okay to say you need help. And to all my musician friends who are listening, even if you're not a musician, please seek help. Please seek help. Please seek help. You can only sing the same song for so long.
Yeah.
So please seek help. Um, tell your truth and share your story before somebody else has to.
I love it.
Hey man.
I love it.
Hey. I guess you add to that is highlighting and recognizing artists. I remember when Mayor Yarber was still in the office, and that was the event at Thalmar Hall, and Barbara Rush was there, and Barbara Rush said, "Recognize me while I'm still here."
That part right there.
Yeah.
He said, and a lot of times we wait till our folks leave before they recognize. I mean, this man was 80 plus years old before he got his first Grammy,
Yep.
and he could tell you some heartbreaking stories and things that happened to him. And I watched this man begin to get into tears, telling what happened to him and how they were treated, just to play music, just to tell their story, right? So when you start talking about what we got now, farming,
Yep.
blues, and hardship, they go
Mhm.
hand in hand in Mississippi. They go
Absolutely.
hand. You cannot separate one without the other. And you
Dude, the
you
Deep
cannot talk
South,
about one
Gulf
without talking
South.
about the other.
I
But
mean,
I'm
think of,
yeah, the Gulf South,
Yeah.
yeah, the Gulf South as a whole. But we
Yeah.
start talking about, for us and we're talking about the birth of the blues and everything that happened here, they like to dismiss Mississippi. Other places get so much recognition
absolutely.
and they like to
Yep.
dismiss everything that happened and don't talk about the negative. But as you saw this past weekend, big shout out to Coach Prime and any of those who have access to him and following. He brought a lot of folks that had roots to Mississippi back, right?
Yep.
You had Rick Ross and Snoop together, who both have roots in Mississippi,
Yep.
and they have been doing more to recognize their roots and highlighting that there are great things that come out of Mississippi. But we want to continue to buy back some of our history or take back some of our history through our music, through our culture and through our growth by
Yeah.
farming.
Tell
And
our
tell
own
the whole
story. Right. That's what I say. Tell the whole story, because the thing is this.
Yeah.
Were they really slave songs when they were working in the field? Or we say slave songs, but they were really field farm songs. All they were doing were farming and tending to the field.
Yeah.
You know, so if we're gonna sing these songs and people are singing the songs that our ancestors wrote and composed, let's tell the truth. They were already sowing into the industry through those songs.
But they were codes.
Absolutely, still to this day. And that's why I say,
tell the whole story.
Tell the whole
this
story.
little light of mine. Yeah, you know, those are codes. You know, they letting folks know, and that's how we, again, like you talk about so many artists. You cannot talk about folk. We got to move on with our guest. That Michael Jackson, who told you, don't make the baby if you can't feed the baby.
That part.
And if I'm telling you, all I want to say, they don't really care about us. You know, there's so many messages in this song where he was telling that he could not sit down and talk to people about, but he could put it in a song, and you sing the lyrics now, understanding what the message was behind the lyrics. But hey, as we continue to grow relationships and grow understanding and grow knowledge, we're going to actually do something else. We're going to grow some food, right?
Grow it.
We need to grow some food, and there's some people out there
working
really, really hard
at
growing food in a place in which our relationships start to grow, and which is at Tougaloo College. So we're going to bring on our guest. We have the person behind the scenes. Both of them are behind the scene, but one of them is really, really the person that's really, really behind the scenes. Like, they don't even do dirt. They just they don't even do dirt. They just so happen to be out there. I don't know how they end up. So we're gonna bring out this sister that wears so many hats. We're gonna bring out Miss Silbrina Wright.
There you go. There you go.
Don't be laughing at us, Silbrina.
Look, it's more to life than just dirt itself, right?
That part. Come on.
Hey. All right. So now we're gonna talk about this brother who left, and he just don't understand. We talk about how the spirit and the ancestors be moving.
Yeah.
Who traded in that big corner office at a major firm to go to a building with you know, at Tougaloo. You know, sometimes we might have a little air problem, the air conditioning, you know what I'm saying? Might have a little problem. You know, he traded that in
water
to go to Tougaloo College to follow the spirit, to follow the path of the ancestors, to get this program off the ground. So we're gonna bring in brother Julian Miller, Esquire, Chuck, Esquire.
Put some spit on their name. Yeah,
put some spit.
Well, I appreciate
it. You got your lights off, saving energy.
Well, he ain't got no ring light. First thing we gonna order Julian ring light.
A ring light.
So for our next broadcast, because you know we got a growing relationship.
Glow and grow.
Grow and grow.
He growing, but he not glowing. He ain't glowing at all. You know.
Well,
why is it so hard? It's so much shade all the time.
He said, this little light of mine, he's letting it shine. That's why he here.
Well, the shine. Listen, I don't want the shine from my forehead. You know, the black flash. So you know,
hey,
I'm here. So it's me. Look, it's me. You know, in the
Sprinter, you laughing off the heart. That's gonna be your friend right here.
He is my friend. He's not only my friend, he's my brother. So I get to laugh with him, not at him.
Oh, okay.
Wait, let me put y'all up here by each other right there.
Yeah, put Tanya up there too. Put Tanya up there. Tanya be at the bottom.
No, because all of us have glasses on. You have glasses on too.
Oh, that's
Chuck's the only one that don't have glasses on.
Give him another year.
He got the shades. There it is.
Yeah,
okay, so glasses people, do you guys sleep in your glasses?
No.
I sleep in my glasses. I can't see.
I fall asleep. You can't sleep. So you need your glasses to see in your dreams. Is that what you're trying to tell us? That's I'm removing myself.
Bless you.
Let me go. I'm gonna go.
Oh yeah. Now you are part of the me and you were never party.
Yes. Take my sister away from me.
See, now Shay and
That's
Jay
when
about
you're
to
a
go
color
crazy
purple
because y'all doing color
fanatic.
purple.
Yes, I love it.
Well, we'll be
Man.
live here in New Orleans. Color Purple on Broadway, January 12th to the 19th.
I'm
So
there.
January
I'm
12th
there.
through the
the
19th.
19th. Yeah.
I'm there.
All right, Tanya, do
You
you
said
have a?
I
you doing it?
auditioned, but my schedule won't allow me to be a part, but I will be a
Okay.
part of the production and helping coaching. So
Color Purple on Broadway.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it'll be in New Orleans.
I
Okay,
have a funny. I have a
need
funny
like 4
story.
tickets.
I have a funny story. So, I can't remember which of Shallon's friends told her this, and she told me this. One of her friends was at home, and they were watching The Color Purple, and her I think her son or daughter, I don't know, I can't remember, but I know that it made me laugh. So they've been watching The Color Purple all day. The child said, "Can we watch another color?"
How about Black with No Chaser?
All right,
Hey! Pew, 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 pew.
The cheering.
I can dig that.
hey man, hey that boy said, "Can we?" Mama, can we watch another color? All right. Well, look, let's get into it. Let's get into it. Come on.
Hey. Yeah, so Sabrina,
Yeah.
Julian, however y'all want to introduce yourselves, but let's talk about this great program that was birthed on the campus of Tougaloo, but it's not stopping at Tougaloo. It's a lot that's going to happen, and it's definitely needed. And you can give some of the backstory, talk a little bit about, first introduce yourselves, then talk about this program and and the purpose, and kind of describe it. Let folks know how important this is.
Well, I'll set up the tea, and then I'll let Julian kind of fill all of the blanks with all of the good stuff, right? Firstly, we want to thank you guys for inviting us on and sharing our story, because we do think that these kinds of platforms allows us to be authentic in our storytelling, and we otherwise would not have this kind of message out there. So we want to thank you guys for giving us the platform to tell our story, introduce the work to everyone out there, especially from a Tougaloo perspective, being the alumni yourselves, and just kind of diving into what that looks like around the state. So this work is a sort of a passion for the work that Julian has developed, but it is housed on the campus of Tougaloo. And when we first pitched the work to Justice Anderson, who we are forever grateful for believing in this work, he was not as supportive of the work itself, not knowing exactly what this would mean, but he was supportive in his financial endeavors to expanding what Black equity means, right? And so he believed in us originally, and I would say Julian originally, in the work that we established and has on Tougaloo campus. But we're having fun. We're having fun with this work, being able to reintroduce this work to Black farmers in a way that is sustainable through institutional platforms like Tougaloo, who has this historic nature. And so being able to have this kind of work on Tougaloo campus is ultimately important for us and important to the cultural and the history of the state of Mississippi. So Julian, working alongside Julian, I'm going to say this, Julian, I'm going to step on out there. Because this is Black with No Chaser. This is Nightcap. And I can say this and feel bombarded about it. I feel like, we're in a generation where this work is our Deion Sanders for Tougaloo College, right? So this is what that is for us, right? This is the spotlight. These are the celebrities of all ag universe, all legislative universe coming together with their money, right, to support what this work looks like on a Black college, right? I think HBCUs are in a season where we have to level up and be responsible and take our stance And I feel like this is a stance that Tougaloo is taking in the world where it's so rich and has a lot of investment in. And we're going along for the ride. You know, we're not Deion Sanders, but we're coaching in a whole nother areas that are bringing some real big leverages to the city and to the state. And so we're appreciative of it. So I'm going to push that over to Julian to kind of tell you what that work looks like on the campus.
Well, she set you up, Julie.
Oh my goodness, I'm gonna try my best. First of all, thank you all. This is a wonderful platform. We really appreciate this to be able to share this work with you all in the Tougaloo community, because it's inspired, essentially. The work is ultimately inspired by Tougaloo's legacy and what that legacy now should be in the 21st century. So I'm attorney Julian Miller. I wear a lot of hats. I'm the hat that brought me to Tougaloo, oddly enough, I was the co-founder with Raina Anderson, the Reuben D. Anderson Center for Justice nonprofit. And the idea with that nonprofit work, which was what I thought the only thing I would be doing as part of, or so I thought. Justice Anderson had another idea. The idea was we wanted to basically take his legacy of service and really leverage it to build partnerships and build around the momentum that's already been established by organizations and community organizations and institutions, essentially to address systemic issues and do community development policy work in 4 particular areas: economic justice, criminal justice equity, public health equity, educational equity. And the goal was to both, again, no, we're not reinventing any wheels or anything of that nature, but we would be the partnerships that have been formed, the amendment that's been built, providing support around that, institutional leverage around that. And so, oddly enough, fun fact, we actually started with a project with Mississippi College Law School in doing an education law and policy clinic there, establishing the state's first ever education law and policy clinic, which was a goal of civil rights activists and education lawyers going back to the 70s, right, that we were able to, and Justice Anderson himself, in fact, he was noted. He was a noted civil rights lawyer after he became the first African-American graduate of Miss Law. And he's part of the legal team with the NAACP, Legal Defense Fund, that pretty much integrated every school in the state of Mississippi. Yeah. And so that was, oddly enough, that was befitting. That was a part of his story, his legacy that's sort of known, that we kind of materialized with this clinical partnership at MC Law, this MC Law Clinic, which is about 3.5 years old now. And essentially, we've been able to address issues of educational equity across the state. And so, but Tougaloo, of course, is his first love, and he wanted Tougaloo to be essential to the work of the center, and both to not only address these broad issues, but also, of course, help build up in the college and help take it to the next level where it needs to be. And so the thought was I would end up working with whomever the pre-law director was at that time to sort of integrate the work of the Anderson Center and establish an institute at Tougaloo to carry out this policy community development work led by its students. But when I planned to reach out to the previous free law director at the time, come to find out, he became the city attorney of the city of Jackson. Literally the day I was getting ready to call him, I was in my law office, and I lived by sticky notes, and I had it on my sticky note. Okay, today is the day to call the free law director to set up a meeting. And when I was literally getting ready to pick up the phone, I had to declare a ledger up and hear an announcement of that, the pre-law director, previous pre-law director, is now the city attorney of the city of Jackson. So that went away. That idea went away. And so the position was open, and I had reached out to Raina, and I was really, by that time, Justice Anderson had really had already invested significantly in both these projects in the center and was really committed to this. So I really wanted to make this work. I mean, there was not, Justice Anderson is someone you don't ever want to disappoint. And I was grateful, Raina, his daughter, had been my dearest friend at the time. And really he had believed in me, took a chance on me to sort of to work with her to help sort of, materialize this work. And so I certainly did not want to disappoint him. And so I, pitched to Raina. I said, well, why don't I just, try to take the position for now and do this? Because I said, I don't want to, it seems like it's going to be in flux and transition. We don't know who the pre-law director is. This will kind of delay us. We're building momentum. We started this clinic. Let's keep, building momentum and get the work with Tougaloo and make it materialize. And, let's, just make this happen and try to do this and without running into any obstacles. So she, gave her blessing. And I applied for the position to be the director of the pre-law program at Tougaloo. And the rest was history. And I'm going to tell y'all again, another fun fact. I said, oh, I'll just do this for a year and then transition to the previous director. And like, so we'll keep it moving. And so I'm in my fourth year now.
Oh, wow.
And because I didn't know I'd fall in love with the students. I didn't know it's something about Tougaloo. It's a very special place. The young people are even more special. And so I really did not want to, I couldn't kind of let them go. And I wanted to see it through. And what we've been able to accomplish, of course, also has been extraordinarily transformational. And so the idea was for the Tougaloo side of everything, the idea is we established the Reuben D. Anderson Institute for Social Justice at Tougaloo, which would consist of 3 programs. Of course, we put the pre-law program, the Reuben Anderson pre-law program, under the Institute. And we started the Benny G. Thompson Delta Leadership Development Program, where we worked with 10, which Silbrina was a huge part of that, on leading that project. And we ended up working with 10 student fellows to work with organizers in the Delta, political elected officials in the Delta, to do community and economic development projects, in which we trained our students to work with those projects, and they produced policy recommendations for the Farm Bill, which we submitted at the end of last year. And now we're in the second iteration of this project. We're actually planning to move in the second iteration of this project, which is more targeted toward elected officials and more targeted toward particular counties of the Delta, where we're going to look at expanding the food economy, and we'll talk more about that. And so, but as far as our policy work, community development work, that would be the Eric Holder Public Policy Program. And so before we brought in a director of the program, because like I said, for the first time in the history of Tougaloo College, we have a minor in public policy. And
that's outstanding.
Yeah, and we have a policy director, Dr. Laura Long, who's phenomenal. And so, she has been at what she's accomplished in less than a year. She won't be having a year to January, and what she has accomplished. It can be on the cover of Time magazine. We'll talk more about it. We have some time, but before that program started, I had the task of trying to, because the thought was, again, we're not reinventing wheels. We're not trying to duplicate any efforts. What we wanted to do was, how do we marry the grassroots work that has all been done? Again, Mississippi has a history, not just Tougaloo, but also Mississippi has a history of dedicated activism and organizing and work that has been done, that we wanted to be able to kind of capture and bring together, and the collective synergy together at Tougaloo. How do we build off that work and in partnership with the students in these organizations, essentially leverage this work to take it from the grassroots to the State House to DC, and really make ourselves unique in that sense as a policy apparatus. Most policy centers, they've got these brilliant people who put these statistics and publish these great policies, and it all is beautiful. And it never really goes anywhere. Other than a great publication and a really great book that you want to read. And so we wanted to sort of make ourselves unique by, no, we want to see this actually change lives. We want to take it off the paper and actually put it in these communities, in these state legislatures, in Congress, and actually being able to change lives in that way, and want to really set ourselves that way. So the idea was we would lay the foundation with grassroots projects in these 4 areas: economic justice, public health equity, educational equity, and criminal justice equity, and lay this grassroots kind of lay the foundation for this grassroots work with the students. And then when our director, Dr. Long, when she came in, the idea is she formalized this program and worked with the students to evaluate these projects, and to be able to do qualitative and quantitative studies of these projects, and make policy recommendations for these projects, as well as work with the students on an advocacy strategy to advance these projects. And so for our economic justice project, it was sort of plain as day to me that we didn't do anything else. Like I said, we did nothing else. The idea was to focus on building sustainable food systems. Silbrina is right. I've been involved in this work for 15 years. After I finished college, I came home to the Delta, where I'm originally from, and I worked with an organization called Dreyfus Health Foundation. And Dreyfus has sponsored anti-poverty projects all over the world, and they had about 20 in the Delta, and they had that same goal of trying to figure out, okay, how do we bring synergy amongst these projects to be able to affect issues on a systemic level. And so the Mississippi Delta, of course, has significant social problems. It's the second most impoverished region in the country, behind Appalachia. And it has indicators of health and wealth comparable to some third world countries. In fact, it's sort of the statistic, I used to remember the statistic years ago, but the idea of it was, when you look at the correlation of health and wealth, I mean, you'd have to increase the wealth of the Delta region almost 100-fold in order for the health outcomes of the Delta to be equal to the national health, to the average health indicators for the country. And so I was kind of thrown in this work just fresh out of college, even though I'm a 5th generation Delta. I learned a lot about the work that was going on, the organizers doing these things, and trying to figure all this stuff out. What dawned on me was that there was already a fairly robust movement around building sustainable food systems already that had materialized. And so, in fact, Dorothy Grady Scarborough, who was a nurse by trade from Shelby, but she was a farmer, and she got together with a coalition of other Black farmers, particularly in Bolivar County, forming an organization called Mississippians Engaging in Greener Agriculture. And they were essentially pioneering organic farming methods like in the 90s. That's much more popularized today. And so, and even before that, you had the Mississippi Association of Cooperatives, which was founded in the 70s. And then you had like the Millston Cooperative Farm in Holmes County, which is majority, which Holmes County is sort of unique because it has the majority of the farmers there.
It's called Mileston. Is that right? Is that right?
Mileston, yes.
You gotta say it, Mileston. Is that right?
Mileston.
That's Mac Stumping Ground, right?
Yes. And so you had the 427-acre cooperative farm that was part of Delta Health Center. That where they pioneered food as medicine work, where we're actually got a grant from NIH to do the food as medicine project. So there was significant work there, and so the idea of it was if we were able to build sustainable food system in the Delta, because the Delta had a $1.4 billion food market, which local farmers were capturing 0.004% of, and so we were able to have BIPOC-led communities, Black farmers capture more and more of that market, and that's revenue that can address economic disparities in the Delta. Could address poverty, as well as deal with the public health disparities as well, because of allowing for the proliferation of locally grown fresh fruits and vegetables can address chronic illnesses. And so to me, that was like, that kills, that cut that, and then of course the revenue from that industry can of course be used for education and increased health benefits and social services, what have you. So I committed my life. We've done a lot of great initiatives. But I committed the foundation of our economic justice work to that. And so I co-founded an organization called Delta Fresh Foods. We worked for the past 12 years old by now, to establish rural food systems in the Delta, focusing on targeting Bolivar County. And we're looking to expand like Sunflower and Equipment counties and trying to build that model to capture more of the food market. So fast forward, when we started the Anderson Center, it was obvious that, okay, for our economic justice project, we're definitely going to try to establish a sustainable food system on the campus, especially since the Paul Quinn College in Texas had been very successful with their campus-based farm, and they got the Dallas Cowboys Stadium as a client, and that was extraordinarily transformative for that college. So it was a no-brainer that would be.
They should use the Dallas Cowboys Stadium as a garden. But anyway.
Slick burn.
So here's the thing. It's even though, like, when we talk about him, Deion Sanders being for what he is with JSU, we also see what that looks like for Tougaloo, being that we could now provide what it looks like for food and food equities at all of these colleges by just using the campus of Tougaloo College itself, because Jackson State can't grow any further, but Tougaloo has over 500 acres of land that it could definitely expand what that food equity and food systems look like. And so we are very proud of the work that is happening at Tougaloo in its space, in its own space, right? And that's one thing that Tougaloo has always been very proud of, is to be able to hold its own space. And we feel like this is a new space for Tougaloo to hold, and we're excited to be a part of it.
Now you look, you saying that, and I think Mac, this is where you probably about to go.
Yeah, go ahead.
The space, it just makes sense, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And even from some of the conversations that we've had, privately, amongst the few of us, we've always that, or at least the very least, that particular plot of land, that 500 acres, even the ability to grow change.
What is that?
What are y'all laughing?
I don't know what Beck is laughing at me.
Herman said he got $5 on a ring light.
You got $5 on Julian ring light. So Julian, we got you a ring light.
Oh, good Lord. I'm telling you, the
how are we going back there and we're not able to go back to the orange slices? I wanted to be able to be a part of that conversation.
but look, for real, I think it's a natural thing for where this is coming into, like, where history meets the future.
Yeah.
Like that's Tougaloo's motto.
Right.
And then look at from whence we came, where this was once a plantation, and now we own the land.
Yep.
We own our resource, we own our labor. Right. And now we're going to step into the place where we're going to start basically being a provider for a larger food system that's going to allow us to create revenue and put Tougaloo in a place to where it can chart its own future and what it looks like 100 years from now.
I mean, it'll be great to make groceries when I come in town at Tougaloo.
Yes,
being a vegan that I am.
Think about you got a farmer's market.
Absolutely.
On the yard.
Yeah.
And I think, so one thing I really want to make sure that our generations and generations to come understand how important it is. I think they hear a certain song and they say, eat, go green, become a vegan, we own the land. But what does that really mean? What does that look like? Because we had a conversation with some specialists probably a couple of months ago, and we talked about, it was CJ. We were just saying how when Mississippi was going through the water crisis, how some of our families are still stuck in that Stockholm mentality. And don't really understand how much power we actually have. And so I think just having that opportunity to educate them on why you're singing this verse on this rap song and how powerful it means to be able to sing it, know the lyrics, but also walk to the field where you own part of that to harvest your food and go in the kitchen and cook.
And Tanya, I'm going to say this to that as well, because when we look at that, we also have to know that we are raising a generation behind us that's going to be a lot weaker and a lot foolish, right? And so then we have to instill what that wisdom looks like today. And what that wisdom looks like is that, all right, you own the land now. How do you keep the land? You don't have to sell the land in order to grow change, right? And so growing change means that it occupies the land and space and make it productive and make it beneficial for the present time, and it preserves it for what happens in the future, because there's always going to be some other culture that says a highway should go here, something mega should go here. And so because of that, it allows you to think about the possibilities of, we do want what New Orleans have going through here. And so instead of this, so we're actually having an opportunity to look at what it looks like to sustain land and make it beneficial and profitable, and use our own hands to do so. Now, Max made a very clear point that I don't do the dirt, but I eat the dirt, right? I really love eating the dirt. Like, that's a specialty of mine. And I really love having gatherings, because food is what's energizes us. It gives us this space. It connects us, right? And when we think about it, it brings us back to those places. And I feel like that's what we have when it comes to this work that we're doing. I see that Mac is talking about the high tunnels, right? We connected the high tunnels back to that energy you talked about, Tanya, about music, right? And fun times, because a younger generation don't really understand what that really is going to mean to his health right now, because they think they're the healthiest people that they've ever going to be in life at this current moment. But when you get to my age, it's like diabetes start talking to you and all kinds of other stuff start talking to you. And so you're like, all right, well, I really need to be a little bit more conscious. So how do you bridge the gap? Make it cool, right? There's parties around food. Like the ancestors talk to their fruits and vegetables and what they were growing. They sung songs, right? They're harvesting songs. There are all kinds of songs and music. Now, our lyrics and music may not be the same, but it's so filled so that it resonates in a different place, but it has the same energy. And so to be able to have that on the historic campus of Tougaloo, intermingling and bringing together those two generations, that's a major thing, right? That was a major energy that we had on that space, showing the
mind you, I wasn't invited.
Oh, now that's not
no, it wasn't towards you. No, just two people that knew I was a vegan and y'all had vegan food.
We did not have all vegan food. We had like bad food. It was when I say bad food,
don't say bad food.
When I say bad food, I mean it was the food that fills your soul and reminds you of those back in the day things.
Yes.
And then they mix.
So y'all must have had some pig feet or something, pig ears. What did you have? I mean,
local sausage and rib tips and blackened catfish. But we
let me say, Silbrina, before
I was
opposed
to that menu.
Sabir, they did a whole podcast and I was waiting. I broke down, put equipment up, and Chuck told me like 2 hours later, you should have been there. I said, well, Harpo, I would have been there if I would have known I was invited to be there. I was right down the street, Harpo. You could have just told me come take a seat.
Harpo.
Now look, what? No, hold the hell on. Now, what I'm gonna say is, Mac put my whole ass to work.
He did.
Wait a minute.
I had 14 holes to roll when I got there.
It was. He was waiting on him.
When we got there, Chuck said, "Come on, man, we gotta get this generator."
No.
Hey.
Sabir,
I ain't gonna let y'all ass do that.
Okay.
We're gonna keep this energy positive. It was a great moment. The ancestors.
It is positive. Ancestors that don't ever have it again without inviting me.
And the vegetables are going to taste better than anything else.
In fact, we do have a peace offering for all of y'all.
Oh, man, yeah, I need that.
It's been a night of mine.
I'm gonna let it
Y'all know I'm keeping right next to me. Y'all know, look. You'll get that.
Don't make us go in now.
I'm gonna let it shine. I keep the instruments ready.
I love it.
She's just reaching down like she on one of them Sesame Street shows. Just every time she reaches another, and then Chuck got the damn flashlight.
Like, what is the purpose of that light? I want to know why is that light on your desk.
This is security.
I need to borrow that.
Hey, just in case.
Oh yeah. Julian need the light. Pass the light to Chuck. Pass the light to Julian. Pass it over. There you go, Julian.
I still need to borrow that right now.
Grab this right here. Watch this. Watch what this light do. Now this is what a ring light look like. This is no light.
Please stop it.
Ring light.
Okay, so Julian, let me rain this light on them that you've been raining down. So Julian has
wait, let
me see if we can light this room up. Let's light this whole space up on YouTube. So Julian has successfully been able to raise over $500,000 on
Hold on. Hit the best one.
$500,000 in less than a year on this project, and then we're actually have a couple of other grants in the pipeline that we're very hopeful of that could be potentials in the millions of dollars. And so so we're really excited about Julian. So whether he has a light tonight or not,
I'm gonna send him my ring light. Just matter of fact,
Yeah.
We're gonna send you a ring light.
I'll
Don't
be
worry
in
about it. Don't worry
Jackson
about it,
on
Julian.
Friday. If you want to drop by the convention center, I'm loading in the convention. I'll hand you my ring light along with a Love the Lou t-shirt. And look,
Yeah.
you'll be set.
I love it.
No worries. No worries.
and not only that, like, right, a part of this work is to make sure that we have the brightest of minds at Tougaloo. We love the energy and the caliber of mind that chooses Tougaloo, right? But we feel like we don't oftentimes in our Black community, we see that as, hey, you get it how you get it, and we forget that we need to make space for them to think, right, to sharpen their tools, to really explore life and develop. And so what I love about this work and why I am so connected to it is that I am able to witness how we are very thoughtful and intentional about how we connect our students to living wages, right? So none of these children have to even think about working for McDonald's or Wendy's or Target. They're really focused on developing a skill set in social justice movement that none of us got an opportunity to do, right? To do it freely, right? To do it without thinking about how I got to run to my next job. We may say that that's crippling, but no, it's a sign of the time. It's a struggle that they have to deal with, right? To be able to choose, because they could choose not to do any of that and focus on the discipline that they're in school for. But Julian gives them an opportunity to make leverage. So if we would look at the average dollar amount that these internships provide, it's about $35 an hour. And so that's, for a college student.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Now, forget college student. If you got some interns that don't want to work, you just let me and Chuck know. We'll work out our schedule.
Let me tell you, you all are two alumni. Listen, y'all are amazing, brilliant students, but you're broke. And so let me tell you.
Wow.
Let me tell you, but no, seriously.
Is this a therapy session? Is this about to turn into a therapy session?
This is nightcap knowledge. It has happened before.
Well, there you go.
This about to turn into a push Julian down the stairs session.
I'm just being honest. No, I don't mean
in the dark.
When I first started, and that was the thing that was always so impressive. When I first started, and even before I was a student, LeBroderick Woods, who was an alumnus, and he's a co-founder of this project, one of the co-founders of this project. And I sort of mentored him when he started Tougaloo, and that's how I first got connected to Tougaloo, actually through him.
And what was his name?
LeBroderick Woods.
LeBroderick Woods. Okay. Yeah,
so he finished in 2014. And so in the biology department. And so that's how I first got connected. And I noticed how, I mentored him through this process. I noticed, all these students, are so smart and do all this work, but really have to work. I mean, Tougaloo students had to work. I remember he had one friend who worked full-time at Nissan while finishing his degree. And I'm like, seriously? And when I got on campus, when I started working, I'm like,
voice got? I say, you heard how high his voice got?
I think
keep going.
Imagine it. He can't.
Go ahead, Julie. Because what you saying to us was like it's a norm. Because we had the UPS. It was like, I mean,
really?
Oh shit, they worked at UPS.
I was a campus DJ. I was owning my labor back then.
Nothing wrong with that. But so I start on when I get on faculty, I'm saying, the problem hasn't changed. And these kids are accomplished,
right?
And make these amazing accomplishments and have it work. And so when we started Social Justice Institute, I'm like, well, listen, if we're going to try to call ourselves doing social justice and trying to address these issues, let's start on campus. Let's start with these children and make sure that we can provide them living wages on campus, make sure they're safe, engage them in work, and so they can focus and sort of have a normal life. And so Tougaloo Agri-Growth Initiative was our first project. Then we had I Serve. But with Tougaloo Agri-Growth Initiative was the first where we said, okay, we will commit to you don't have to work any more than 5 to 10 hours a week. You make at least $350 a week. And we plan to double that. Or we plan, if everything works out with our funding, we're going to actually double that. And so it's like, no, because we want them safe and they're engaged, they work, they're getting a great skill set, they're contributing to their college and advancing, which is a transformative economic justice project, which we plan to make statewide. And they're being able to live, essentially live and not have economic security. So that's been very, very important, and that's how we model all of our other projects as well that we do in the other areas of the institute.
I love it.
So Julian.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No. I'm trying to figure out how to get Mac, Tanya, Chuck, and Sabir one of these $35 an hour jobs when these children
I'm fine.
work.
I don't want one. I don't want one. What I do want is the opportunity to
you
help.
Go ahead. I'll take Tanya's too.
To help. What was that, Tanya? What was that? To help with
the opportunity to help the social promotion of all of the marketing, right? Because the thing is, what I find a lot, especially with my students, for example, a lot of my students don't really know who I've taught, right? I've taught a lot of people who are in the industry, in the music industry, and who've gone to do great things in the movie world and so forth. But they are so impressed with the bag.
Yeah.
With being able to hold up, a $100 bill with ones behind it, making you, assume that they have a lot of money, right? But they will promote that and don't have a job to the first, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
When they have something that is sustainable, that is something that they should be proud of, they don't want to promote it. And right, exactly. And if they do promote it, it's promoted in the most minuscule way. So if there's a way that we can highlight this, showing them you have not just the bag, but you have an investment and you have longevity in this investment that you can bring somebody else in, because nothing against people who are doing the boutiques and all of that. But you're not making those clothes. Everything is coming from China.
Tanya, wait. So listen, I am so appreciative that you would even bring that up, right? Because that is a place where we struggle a lot. And when we talk about, when we sit down in our sessions, we talk about the best way to tell this story authentically. And you're absolutely correct. The kids that are benefiting the most from this project have no real understanding of the value of this work. And so we struggle there. Like Julie and I and our team, we talk about this often because we are so passionate about and intentional about what the work looks like. The value of the matriculation of this work kind of stops at the students that are experiencing it the most at the moment. And they may not fully grasp exactly what that looks like at this moment. And it may take them 10 years from now, but not to have that testimonial in real time. We are battling against the $100, $1 bill person, and their superficial bag makes this stabilizing rooted bag look insignificant.
Mac, jump in there.
So I'm listening. You talk about something that we are buying back, right? So the history of Tougaloo has been filled with not only with students, but everybody was at Tougaloo. Folks that didn't even have a degree, that didn't even go to, didn't graduate high school, were on Tougaloo campus as a part of the movement during the civil rights era. But as this opens up for the community, if you think about this, folks that cook, right? We cook at this house. Food is high as hell. So you think about owning your own product and selling it yourself. You cannot tell me this is not a sustainable business when you're paying for vegetables that's being shipped from Mexico that shelf life, by the time you get them, lasts maybe 2 days at your house. So if we can spend $6 to $7 billion a year in Mississippi importing foods, what would happen if you took half of that money and invested it into the people here, where now you could sustain and grow your own fruits and vegetables? We have the soil. They went and stole a whole damn group of folks and then took them to stolen land to grow product. if we didn't have the assets to do it right here in Mississippi, right? You can't, anytime people start talking about slavery and back in the day with cotton, the only thing pop up is goddamn Mississippi. Like they didn't grow cotton nowhere else. But you know, but that stereotype has certain reality to it because of the soil, the people, the condition that we can grow here in Mississippi. And we need to continue to educate us that, as I said before, you can be a lawyer and get out your Range Rover if you have one, or a Honda Accord, Smart if you got a Honda Accord, and get on your tractor, right? White farmers, a lot of them double as they are doctors, dentists, and other positions. So, but they go and have 200 head of cattle and 300 acres field of soybeans, and everything like that, right? So you can do that, and we want our people to understand that just because you're going to this college, don't forget that you could still get into the dirt. And even if you don't want to get into the dirt yourself, buy the land, get the program, expand it, and grow the food, and somebody else will get into the dirt. But it's definitely
let me say this. Let me make this. I'm so sorry. Let me make this brief point. So we actually have an article coming out of Brown with Nonprofit Quarterly, because we're building a sustainable food system on campus, but the goal is to replicate this. The goal is essentially, this is part of a broader statewide movement. We plan to work with the Mississippi Association of Cooperatives and the Food Justice Collaborative to develop a worker-owned cooperative statewide to capture the entire $6 billion food market in Mississippi. And if you think about this, and Mac, you made a perfect point, that this theoretically can be de facto reparations, right? You know, as people of color, as having a legacy of slavery, they essentially extrapolate.
People of color now. You include another folks,
black people. I'm sorry. Yes, it is black people. They essentially
ain't nobody else in there.
They exploited the wealth from our collective labor for profit, for the profit of this country. And so we're flipping it on its head. The idea is we utilize our collective labor to provide food for our own people, to address public health issues, but also to get that wealth for ourselves, for our communities, for our people. And so I think that's sort of the idea of this, is we're trying to use this to create a model to spark a broader statewide movement to be able to capture wealth from the provision of fresh fruits and vegetables.
Really quick.
So go ahead, Tanya, because I want to ask a specific question about the high talk.
I want to ask, how is this narrative, this story being captured? Are you all filming a day in the life daily? Is it something that you have students who are part of Tougaloo's media department to come and capture, document this? Because I was literally looking on YouTube, because I sent a video to my students who were watching, just learning how food and music works hand in hand, right? Mm-hmm. And there's this group in Harlem, but the only thing that came up was Harlem Grows, which is an organization that transforms kids' lives by growing everything within the area. So the brother who founded this organization was saying that he had 6,000 pounds of free produce a year from 12 urban gardens in Harlem. And so I thought it was an amazing thing that Tony Hillary is doing. But I just asked, how is this being captured, where stories are being shared so we can reshare the stories and so forth?
So we're actually in the middle of branding and rebranding this work, because we started out with 2 nickels to rub together, and now we have a lot of funding and a lot of support, because we're looking at food equity in different ways and the work that it ties it in. So we're able to get funding from entities such as EPA and Feed America and all of these different things, because we're tying in what it looks like for climate control and what it looks like for waste reduction and what it looks like for food equity. So we're tying in all of that. And so for the first time, we've actually gotten a budget for marketing and what it looks like from this new opportunity. And so we have been capturing as we go along in this work, but it has been very hard to do that with no dollars. And so we have been able to we've been able to do a little bit of that marketing, and we found we found that the work, being able to tell the work story had to be much, much bigger than just Tougaloo alone. So we have brought along some of the mass communication folk from Tougaloo. We have brought along the ag department at Alcorn to be able to tell this story. We have brought along some community folk just to talk about what the work is on in their area, as we are connecting the dots from the Delta and all of those types of things. So look for those videos to come out, but also we're listening, right? So we don't want to get the story wrong. So that's why we started with Black with No Chaser in announcing this work, because we want to listen more than we're talking, because we feel like the deep connection of this work is beyond us. And it also can live through us if we're able to really connect the dots, and we can't do that while we're talking. So we're not even talking anymore. We're listening, and we're buckling down and telling our interns and telling our media department, hey, listen, let's listen first before we're putting all of this these things out, because we're learning a whole lot from you guys, even just in these conversations alone. With having Mya down, she was down just to listen, right? Not to give so much input about what Feed America looks like, but what that work looks like here on the ground here in Mississippi. So we're telling our children, listen, our interns rather, that we're going to be cultural bearers to this story, and we want to get it right, and we want to get the story as accurate as we possibly can. And so we're going to tell the good, the bad, and the ugly. We may have to tell it on Nightcap, the ugly, but at the same time, we need to be able to have a space to tell the ugly.
I think that's one of the major problems. Like, folks only want to tell the shiny part, but I think a lot of times people only want to pay attention to
the whole story.
You know, they just want to tell that part. They want to tell you that, hey, that my plants didn't, I didn't have a harvest this year because of the drought or whatever the case may be. Folks want to tell you, like, this is not a movie on BET where you start out with a dirt pile and then the next scene you got, vegetables. It doesn't work like that. You know what I'm saying?
Because let me tell you something. Tougaloo has some very disrespectful deer on their campus. They are very disrespectful.
The first
Mississippi guys are very disrespectful.
Yeah, we got four stars on Yelp from the deer at Tougaloo with that first harvest. I mean,
I have a solution.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say it.
You can't say it on Nightcap. It can't be said. You can't.
Well, look, I'm just gonna tell you
the solution.
I got out there in that garage there. I got a bow. It ain't a gun. I got a bow, and I know a few.
You're the animal whisperer.
I'm a whisperer.
It's gonna be a whisper. All right, it's gonna be a.
Hey.
Right.
But I got a solution for that. We can do some game management for you.
Love it. Yes. Listen. Let's talk. Let's do it.
Yeah. Now look, there was something that I definitely wanted to make a parallel to. And I honestly had no idea that this was what we were doing. So I mentioned that my position when I was a student at Tougaloo was I was the campus DJ. Yeah. So I started out as an RA and I went to sleep on RA duty, right? It did not work out. Next, they said, well, we're gonna put you with Mr. Sanders in student activities. You seem like you could thrive there. And we're talking about like you all, Julian and Silbrina, you all are like this next iteration of the Earl Sanders of the Tougaloo community, right? Okay. So I'm giving you all of these things because at that point, Earl Sanders and Harold Jones, they said, I found some DJ equipment on campus. I had only DJed a few times before I left Mobile, Alabama, and when I got to Tougaloo. When I started working at Tougaloo, I said, well, let's keep this DJ thing going because we had guys there that we had come up through the ranks. I had spent time with, and God honest truth, man, when you said $350,
Yeah.
we used to DJ. I say, look, I'm gonna tell y'all what to tell the Greek organizations. You all will provide DJ services, media services for all of their events. That will be Sunday through Thursday for $700. I say, once you get to Friday, you got to pay the Friday and Saturday rate. And those guys were able to get at least, and I mean, it was a collective of them, at least $350. We had a DJ cooperative back then, and I had no idea. Well, I had no idea what we were doing. No idea. Now, fast forward, all of these guys have their own businesses.
Yeah.
Wow.
Every last one of them got their own businesses. And they might be in DJing, and it might be in media service.
Look at that.
But I absolutely, this was my aha moment right here, right now.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
Well, we
I
always say that Tougaloo campus is divine, right? You know, it's the place where you get so many visions, so many ideas percolating, and you're able to make so many different connections. And that's exactly, Chuck, what you describe is exactly what we talk about in our team building, right? We sit down and we talk about, okay, so what if, and Julian talks about, like, Julian is really being modest. He handhelds all of these students, right? The campus is just that intimate enough that you can just handheld these students. He handhelds these students all the way to their next destination, and he doesn't let them go, right? He keeps on this tradition of Dr. Holmes as much as he possibly can, living in those shadows and standing in those shoes. He really do the work, right? He's not just making waves in programmatic ways. He actually is invested in these students and what their lives look like beyond Tougaloo campus. He does that through all of his great connections as Harvard grad, as a Brown scholar, and all of these great connections that he has on his own. He gives them freely to these students, and it has multiplied, in so many ways. But we talk about in our team building is that, all right, we want these students to have this alumni energy that we know about Tougaloo. We want them to know what it's like to have the spirit of Tougaloo, right? To have this social justice understanding about their own life. So if they go off to be great lawyers and they're poised to be lawyers, right? We want them to consider what social justice look like in the environmental field. We want them to look at, because Reuben B. Anderson says it best. He says, listen, all these great people are out here doing all of this great work, like Fannie Lou Hamer and all these great things, but none of it would have been possible without great lawyers, right? And so, and that is so important. You think about where we're heading. If we want to change what that looks like in this nation, we have to make lawmakers. We don't need lawmakers in just the White House, because the White House itself cannot do it. Right. We have to have them tucked away in all of these entities that are having all of these great influences over what makes our world work. And what makes our world work is those entities like EPA, like USDA, like these nonprofit philanthropy groups that are just giving money away nonstop. Somebody is advising them on where that money should go, right? And so we need somebody at their ear talking to them. And so we're putting that spirit in our students right now, saying, listen, you are that person that's going to be in the ear of somebody that's going to decide how we change the world. And I want you to remember that we started this foundation. You have a place to put that money. You got a place to put that seed in the ground. And this is the place where you drop that seed. So we want to leave Tougaloo campus with that kind of spirit.
Amen. Choose Tougaloo. We did.
We did.
Now listen. Now some of our folks are country. We want to talk about what's in this high tone. What y'all got in this high tone?
Oh, greens, and more greens.
You can't just say green. You gotta tell them what you got. You got turnips.
You
got
name it. You know we get to that, right?
Turnips, mustards, kale. We did some broccoli and squash.
Yeah.
You see?
So, yeah. So
I just had some kale. I just had kale.
Get Tanya the kale. Give me the turnips.
Yes.
The turnip got root on. Do they have roots?
They have some roots. Let me see what else.
Give me all of it.
And then so
you want to talk about I'll talk about the fresh food exchange, right? So this coming up in November. So TAGI itself has all of these programmatic parts to it. And the next piece that we have is the fresh food exchange, where we are reaching out the fresh food exchange
in November.
And what in November the 12th.
Yes.
What's happening November the 12th?
It's a lot. It's a lot.
So here's what's happening. Here's what's happening with the Fresh Food Exchange. LeBroderick Woods, who's the program director of TAGI, he's going to be leading this pilot piece that we're going to be speaking to chefs and local restaurants and local small business owners and child care facility centers. Yeah, and so that we can talk to them about how we are able to diminish that waste and be able to purchase those necessities from the Tougaloo campus high tunnel. So that's what they'll be doing, right? And so they'll make their orders, tell us what they want us to grow in those high tunnels. We'll grow that, and then in 24 hours, it's on their table, and they're preparing it and giving it to families and making sure that our families are healthy. So that's kind of the logic behind it. So right now, we have a famous client that you guys will know is the Village the restaurant, the Village, and so
and
make some noise. 1, 2, 3.
Yeah. Tougaloo Village Road, baby. Come on.
So we're excited about them becoming a client, and we're also currently growing for the Mississippi Food Network. So that high tunnel is preparing food for most of Mississippi Food Network, the Village, and then we're also proposing that to what it looks like on Tougaloo campus, right? So we want to be able to partner with our cafeteria,
Thompson Hospitality.
So those are some of the things that we're hoping that will transpire, and we are actively looking at what that proposal looked like as we talk to Jackson State and saying, hey, listen, who are you buying your fresh fruits and vegetables from? Why not buy it from Tougaloo and support another HBCU into that work?
Since we do pipeline grassroots there.
Can I step in and just throw an ideal out there?
Yes, we love it.
You know how there are those holiday boxes that get your fruit, your grapes, your apples, or that there's their organization that you can order fresh veggies from and get those subscriptions. I want to be first on the list. So I get my subscription box.
Where's our music? Where's our
I know.
At the count of 3, I want everybody in the place to be to make some noise if you're down with me. 1, 2.
Yes, let's do it.
Tag that box. What's that tag that box? Tag that box.
It just sounds like some orange slices should be in their box.
Yes.
You figure out how to grow some. You grow some doggone orange slices in that hot tunnel. We're gonna put them in that box. How about that?
Right. I got the tea. Hey.
Well, let me say this. So we are. So the purpose. So the purpose of this fresh. I want a TAGI box out there. You guys need to know that. We need to get that theme song. We might need to get that
theme song. I love it.
We got the theme. Hey,
I'm just playing.
Get your invoice ready.
We'll give y'all credit. We'll give y'all credit. So we're So
You let Julian get it out.
with this Fresh Foods Exchange. So essentially, this is our pilot. What we're trying to figure out is also how to basically brand and market our work.
Yeah.
Brand and market. Obviously, we're making the vegetables.
Yeah,
sense.
we're clear.
Yeah, but we want to strategize, and begin to recruit vendors who will be committed to us, who will be committed to purchasing. And
Y'all see somebody in marketing back there?
And be able to plan our production.
Hold on. Let me do this.
Oh, okay.
You see what I did there?
Oh, wow.
You see what I did there?
Hey, we got this.
This is what we do. When I tell you, we
combine.
we are when we talk about marketing and branding, we are so serious about it. Where we have everything you need right in house.
Yeah.
Literally from the conversation to the social media to the actual physical product, we have it right here.
Yeah. No, we want, like I said, we want to be able to again figure out a way, basically revolutionize the way to capture vendors. Like I said, we have this first course set with this Food Network within these early child care center village, and then we want to be able to master that model through this Fresh Foods Exchange to recruit more vendors so we can plan our production and continue to scale that way. And we have an agronomist that's working with us, that's helping us in that process, but also to help us put the numbers to this, to see what we need to grow, how much we need to grow, what we need to grow on these plots of land, so we can have planning for this broader, the broader 500 acres. Now, let me say this: we're not going to take up all 500 acres. We hope so. Although even if Tougaloo expanded, it's not going to go any more than 100 acres. So, and like I said, the concept tell us you pay for it. We're trying to give you money to pay for it. Hello, you're welcome to it. So, but yeah, that's what we will know how, and we'll be able to talk more about. We plan to do this business plan, so we can talk more about the projections, about how much money can this campus produce based upon what we produce, and be able to capture the market, and aspire to that, and build and scale toward that. So we're excited about that, and then that'll be the model for other communities and regions of the state to be able to help us replicate that model for the broader food system moving across the state.
You never know. You have the Two Rivers Restaurant and Bar right there on the land.
Oh, I like that. The Two Rivers Restaurant and Bar. You just said some.
I'm just saying.
But Julian, guess who's the founder of the Jackson Black Pages that became Mississippi Black Pages? So someone that knows about network directories and expos. Guess who did that?
Who?
Look up.
You
on your pocket. Look up. I'm right over your head. They disappeared. The one that's so nice they named him twice, DJ George.
Right.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
So when you start talking about it, like, listen, we know how to do cross promotion. We figure out
and for real,
and build contacts, networks.
We've got how many expos? We've got at least 8 expos under our belt. We've done one virtual. We've grown from the expo being in Tougaloo, and I am so Tougaloo. Like, who? What Prime say? Who is swag if I ain't swag? Yeah. Who is Tougaloo? If I ain't
Tougaloo? If you ain't Tougaloo.
Who's the Lou? Who's the Lou?
We started Jackson Black Pages, the Jackson Black Business Expo at Tougaloo.
That sounds like a t-shirt. Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Text you
that. There's a design already done. Okay, it just hasn't been released.
Yeah.
Let me get one in blue. Go ahead.
Gotcha. And I'm very serious about this. I got you. You guys would be the first 2. But yeah, we started the Jackson Black Pages, and within the first 5 years, we were able to sustain 100 vendors once a year. And then across the year, we would do these networking sessions where we were hosting things at the Nest, which is right across the street from Tougaloo right now. That's where its current location is. The next iteration of that, you know, it'll be somewhere else, and Mac and I are working on that. But
why is Mac doing all of that?
the Mississippi Black Business Expo is now growing past Jackson. Now I'm on the coast. We've got a Black-owned business group network down here. I can't even tell you how many people that are in the group, but we've also planted the seeds for Pine Belt. We planted the seeds for Delta, and then we planted the seeds for North Mississippi. So we've been developing these networks, and shout out to Sabir, who's in the Siberius Maximus, who's on YouTube. He's our tech director, where we've got all of these growing groups, so that when we get ready to say something, we can say it very quickly to the people that need to hear and want to hear. So that's what, you know, Mississippi Move is, in terms of like this nonprofit that actually has street cred with all of the people that actually know where the streets and the dirt roads are, and not the people that know where the boulevards and real shiny stuff is. Now we got them people too. Because in the skyscrapers and all of that, you know, we ain't really got no skyscrapers, but you know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, tall ass trees. But anyway,
so tree climbers.
I'm just going to just. But you know what I want to put out there, and we're winding down, because we at 1:30. I mean, we had an hour and 30 now.
Great conversation.
This about this food network. And so Herman just said the breakdown of the bag. Understand, there's money in planting the food. There's money in cultivating the food. There's money in harvesting the food. There's money in transporting the food. There's money in selling the food. There's money in someone that's going to take the food, sell it, prepare it, and sell it as a meal.
Right.
Do you understand that we're talking about, we are trying to control every movement and every dollar that's associated with this one bunch of greens? You understand what I'm saying? There's one bunch of greens.
What's going to bring in the green?
And I'm telling you, a real cooperative economic is how we create. And we talk about these principles doing the Nguzo Saba, doing Kwanzaa, but this is how that dollar keeps going. And so when you get those turnip greens from down there at Village Kitchen on your hot plate, then they came from Tougaloo, right? They might have been farmed by one of the young, you know, farmed by one of the young Qs, sold to another Q, you know, that's probably going to be eaten by another Q, you know. But what I'm saying is just showing you that network and how that happens. And because the signal's going to eat all the chicken. But anyway,
God.
So, but
look, long as Deatrice is in the kitchen with the broccoli, that's all I want.
With the broccoli, she got the broccoli. I'm talking about not the broccoli, but the broccoli. The real broccoli.
That it can cook. For real.
So
that's my sister Soror.
So we talking about the food, man, that we need, and we are in food deserts. There are resources out there for nonprofits to buy food to feed people. There's a never-ending stop. What we're talking about with this dollar, with being able to grow this, and it's happening right now at Tougaloo College. Chuck, let them see it again. Let them see the high tunnel. And
Just for context,
this is happening right behind New Women's.
There you go, man. I appreciate that. That's
the next two.
New Women's.
And the next two high tunnels will be, we finally got our doors. Praise be to God for our high tunnels. So we're building our next two behind the Kinchlow building. And that's actually where we started. Again, that's actually where the farm started 2.5 years ago in the spring of 2020. We started actually with Kinchlow, with raised beds. And so now we're going to, because we want to be able to grow year round, we'll be building high tunnels, next couple high tunnels behind Kinchlow. So,
man, this setup so dope.
Yeah.
Kinchlow, big shout out to Embellish Events, old Tasha Rowe.
Yeah.
Tasha and them damn ornaments that made me and Sabrina damn near kill ourselves. That shit was totally fashion.
I'll see it next time.
It was totally for fashion. It was not for sitting.
Not for sitting. But the other thing is that we want to make this an annual event. This was something that we were launching to launch the conversation. to show Maya around Tougaloo campus and invite her into the campus, into the world that we are growing. And so she was very, very impressed with the aesthetics of Tougaloo, because Tougaloo is always pristine, but at the same time to know that there are so many multifaceted things happening on the campus, and how we're utilizing the space to include so many different generations and so many cultural experiences that, you know, normally are not had on the campus of Tougaloo in this way, right? And so we're excited about being able to host other events in the same nature. And maybe that means Tanya, you're doing some music for us, you know, and bringing us to that level, right? And all of those types of things. So yeah, we're happy to host as we grow, right? As we grow, we're hosting these
I think I smell some turnip greens cooking for
it was some turnip
graduation
greens.
weekend.
Yeah.
Weekend.
I told Mac, I
Graduation
said I
weekend.
definitely in the future talk with you all about bringing the idea to the Lower Ninth Ward where I live, because we have so many historical areas, grounds, people, living legends that are here in the Lower Nine. And our area is considered, I mean, it's very desolate when it comes to food, because there's nothing, we have no grocery stores in the Lower Nine. We only have corner stores. All of our restaurants are closed. So, I mean, you can do your research. It still, I mean, it doesn't look like Katrina, but it still feels like Katrina.
Yeah.
So so we have a lot of work. We have a lot of work to do.
And that's to your point about that, you know, that's one of the things that we don't know about COVID, right? And that's what we're telling our children. You know, as you're being an intern, let's look at Tougaloo College as a place to do research, because we just had a earth-shattering universal feel of what suffrage looks like across this nation. And those that have already experienced suffrage, has always been on the wrong side of suffrage. There is no calculation of what that's going to look like for us and how we recover, because everybody else moves on and we're still here, right? We're still in our communities. We're still trying to do the work. And so we're having great conversations, and Julian has built great relationships and deepened those relationships with folk that are talking about, we want to not only talk about what COVID did for you. We know 10 years from now, we're still going to be recovering from COVID. And we need you guys to document that. Why our story is so important. Julian talked about the statistics in the Delta. Those are not true statistics, because Black folk don't talk to nobody else but Black folk. And so our numbers are not being shown because we're not doing the numbers. We're not analyzing, we're not giving our own statistics. And so we're telling our students and our interns, hey, listen, this is an opportunity to grow food equity and justice, but we want you to look at it from every facet. We want you to cover the broad story of how we are able to document our numbers, our statistics, our successes, our failures, the growth and the harm that it has done. And we appreciate you guys for being these truth tellers, right? These unapologetic truth tellers. Because Julie and I, you know, once we fast forward to some other places in this work, we're not going to have the opportunity to tell the truth in these spaces, but we know that you will. And so that's where we can appreciate that. And I say that with all honesty, because that's a reality that we live in. We want to be very authentic, but as we are piloting this piece all over the world, that work and that narrative changes as it goes to different places. But we know that in our heart and solidarity, we can depend on you to keep telling the truth.
Amen.
Well, listen, and we want to connect the dots. We talking about farming, and we talk about a new initiative. And Chuck put up the Freedom Summer flyer. We started an initiative with one of the Tougaloo veterans, which is Brother Hollis Watkins, in Freedom Summer. And you're talking about the work that was done. So we were able to use his name because he was a part of it, and he continued to be a part of it. But we are addressing the needs of what's happening in our community. And we're going to take this Freedom Summer last event to Holmes County. And how is that connected to farming? Because during the era of Freedom Summer, during the 60s, during 64, you had predominantly majority of the land that was in Holmes County was owned by black farmers, right?
Yes.
And you had more black farmers in Holmes County in one area than you did in the whole area, in the whole country. So you talk about connecting our history and buying back our history and using the terms. And like you said, we're not reinventing the wheel. We're just taking what is already out there. You can't talk about advocacy and justice without talking about farmers, because during that time, agriculture is what we knew. That's what we were doing. Whether you were working for the man on this plantation or you were working for yourself during that era, and we're connecting the dots. Holmes County still needs vegetables, right? We still need fresh fruits and vegetables. And during COVID, we were out there assisting the county supervisors and passing out food boxes and getting resources. And people were happy to get fresh fruits and vegetables because the local grocery stores are so high because they don't have no other options, you know? So we are going to be there this Saturday talking about the healing power, about mental health, talking about education, therapeutic health with massage therapy. We're going to be doing all those things. Just think about if we had some fresh fruit and vegetables to go along with this when we do these programs and give folks alternative. I can't tell you to stop doing this if I don't give you another option to do that. And we'd be able to kill all birds with one stone. So we want to make sure everybody know about that. And we have a volunteer. Sabir told me to not forget this. And he's gonna get me in trouble if we don't mention it. But we have a volunteer coming from USM. This person is named Jordan Lawrence, coming from USM to volunteer with us Saturday up in Holmes County. So we definitely a big thanks. And this is a sophomore at USM that's going to drive from Hattiesburg to Holmes County to volunteer with us for Freedom Summer.
Let's make sure we get that Jordan a gas card or something. You know?
We're gonna have to get him a gas card because that's a nice ass drive from Holmes County. But Silbrina, real quickly, social media. How can we find you guys? How can we follow you guys to learn more about what's going on with this ag initiative at Tougaloo?
So I gotta tell them the backdrop to that, because we've not been doing social media correctly. We learned that through Mac himself. So we are we are definitely molding what that's not a shade tree. We are definitely molding our social media pages. So there is a Instagram of TC_TAGI, TAGI. And there you can use the hashtag. One of the hashtags that they have out there, and they being our interns, is the hashtag people helping people. And so that's hashtag people helping people. And then there's a hashtag TC_TAGI, standing for Tangi. And then there is Tangi Food Exchange, hashtag US Food Network, TC_Tangi, TAGI. So all of those will connect you to our work. And then also you could just reach out to Julian Miller, right? Julian is one of those reachable folk that loves to talk about this work and loves to connect and loves to hear from you. Because I told you we're going through this session of just listening. So we have a couple of listening tours that we have scheduled that we're going to have around campus, that we're going to have around the state, just listening, because we are preparing for the second iteration of this work. And we want to make sure that we have all of the voices compiled as we're going forward in this work. So I know Julian has some things that he wants to say about that. So I'll let him close out. And I just thank you guys for having us on.
Yes, like I said, thank you all. No, this has been phenomenal. Like I said, we appreciate you all. We're so excited to sort of grow this movement and build this movement. I think it's come full circle at Tougaloo College with its legacy of social justice, which how it began, as a former slave plantation now to build this cooperative food system led by its beautiful Black students and its alumni. So we're really excited to pull that together. Definitely want to, like I said, give shouts out to Dr. Chamberlain, who's our VP of Strategic Initiatives of Social Justice who's been really supportive of this work. Dr. Walters and others in the administration. Cynthia Palmer, who works with us. Our policy director, Dr. Long. Oh my God! So she's really a hugely part of this because we're doing the work on the ground. So she's responsible for evaluating and working with our students to evaluate the project, but also to make policy recommendations because again, we want to build this food system statewide and essentially do that. So she's certainly making that a possibility. Huge shout outs to our LeBroderick Woods, who is our alumnus, a distinguished alumnus who founded this project with Michael Aredu, who at the time 2.5 years ago was a junior. He was my top economics. He was an economics major, pre-law minor, my top pre-law student. And he worked with LeBroderick to found this project. He's from Ghana. And it was a second generation farmer, but he also understood the economics of it. So I'm grateful for him. He's actually working at the Goldman Sachs in Texas, and he plans to apply out of Harvard Law School. So huge shout out to him. I had a chance to talk with him, and after the dinner, the day of the event we had, the farmer table dinner was his 1 year anniversary. So he wasn't able to make it, but we said we're certainly grateful for his support. And of course, we're so grateful for our amazing students, our student team, as well as our adult team, who worked tirelessly to make this happen. They're getting ready for this next phase to plant for to build the building, because help construct the high tunnels behind Ketchlow and prepare us for this exchange. And of course, our continuing harvesting our fall cropping, of course, preparing for the winter crop after the exchange. And so we hope to continue to build up this project again, begin working collaboratively with the Association of Cooperatives and the Food Justice Collaborative to begin sort of looking at how we replicate this work in other areas, replicate it statewide, and build up the broader movement as we continue to build up the work too.
Hey, and Julian, when we get off, when we close out, I got to remind me to tell you something.
No problem.
Man, I think this is great work, Tanya. I see your brain turning over there. I see that dinner table set out. I see that stage. I see you performing. I see us eating those fresh vegetables. Being cooked right there in front of us.
We got a
fresh
stage.
Vegetables. We got a stage.
We got everything we need. We got a stage.
We got everything we need. Let's go.
I love that.
Yeah.
We're one-stop shop. Literally.
So I tell you one thing: when you take them vegetables, guess what we can do, Chuck?
What we about to go?
What them vegetables gonna take you to?
We're gonna get to where the money reside, baby, because we got the green and it's gonna be real mean. We gonna come back. Hey, it's nightcap knowledge. We're gonna put some on your head before you go to bed. Birdman hand rub, baby. We get into it.
What is a pium pium? Like, what is a pium pium?
Pium pium. We'll see y'all right here next Tuesday, where the veggies reside, baby.
Where the veggies reside. T-shirt.
I love it.
Yeah.
Y'all, next week, 9 p.m. right here. 9